Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Kev from 21 Sat Street. Hope you guys are having a great day and welcome back to another video. So today I'm talking about ownership, and really this is just inspired by a video that I came across a while back, and thankfully I wrote this down, which is titled "The 5 Assets That Keep Americans Poor." And ironically, they should really change the title because they're not even assets to begin with. And again, this is by Thomas Sowell. And apart from that, this is also inspired from years of me just being in Bitcoin and just learning about what money is, the history of money, the philosophy of money, and just even interacting with these different assets and all that. Real quick, I'm just gonna break down what Thomas Sowell mentions, which are the 5 assets that keep American poor. Again, 5 assets in quotations. So he mentions the first one is the 4-year college degree, residential real estate, the automobile, consumer goods on high interest credit, and fee-laden retirement accounts, which is your 401k, your IRA, 403b, etc. And who knows, I'll probably do a separate video on this, and if you guys are interested, it was a pretty interesting, video and a pretty interesting read as well. So again, if you guys are interested, let me know in the comments down below. But other than that, let's get to it. So I'm going to talk to you about things that you don't own. And funny enough, we'll start with your car. And you're going to look at me saying, like, Kev, what are you talking about? I own my car. I paid it off, and all that. It's not, I don't have to owe anything to the dealership and whatever. And guess what? That's true. Give you that. But the reason I say your car is because, try skipping your registration or insurance. And without having those two right there, you can't even operate the vehicle. And if you do, and for whatever reason, like a day like today, the police wanted to stop you and all that, you can face up not only to tickets and fines, but you can possibly go to jail as well and have your car repossessed and all that. So your car, you own it, but again, at the same time, subtly, you kind of don't. Try skipping registration and insurance. Next is stocks. And stocks, I think for most of stocks back in the day, they used to give you a physical certificate, but nowadays everything is electronic. And now how things are going, it's going to be tokenized as well. So yeah, stocks, unless you hold the physical certificate, you don't really own it. The brokerage does. And let's say the brokerage goes under, guess what? They want to cover their butts first. So yeah. And if they want, they can just, liquidate your stocks and cover their butts, and you get screwed over. Again, unless you hold the physical certificate, you don't own it. It's kind of similar, which is about, leaving Bitcoin or crypto on the exchange, but we'll get back to that in a sec. And actually, I should have put this second, your money in the bank. And it's funny because, we have these accounts, it has our names on it, our information. Every time that we open a bank account, we go through a KYC process and all that. And, we have a routing number, an account number, and our name is there, but at the end of the day, the money in the bank is not our money. It's the bank's money. And we're just unsecured creditors. And again, it's the same thing with the stocks, but now with the bank. If something were to happen with the bank, they were going to go under, they're gonna find ways to cover themselves and screw us, and screw us over. And not only that, but if you try to take a significant amount from the bank, they're gonna question you, and they're going to might even prohibit the transaction as well. Again, they might raise eyebrows and all that. And funny enough, I went through a similar process, which ended up getting one of my old bank accounts, closed on me. And trust me, that was a nightmare. I wasn't doing anything, I wasn't doing anything illegal or anything like that. But in the bank's eyes, I guess it was just not deemable, and they can just close your account whatsoever for whatever reason. There's no debates. There's no reasoning. If they decide to close the account and offboard you as a customer, they will do that. And it takes forever to get your money from them. Like, I remember going through that process. It was a nightmare. I don't wish that on anybody. So yeah. And just take into account what happened back in 2023, I believe, with these bank foreclosures like Silicon Valley, and I forgot the other one. Like, a lot of people were trying to get their money out of the bank all at once, and guess what? Most of these people couldn't get their monies out. So yeah, money in the bank, unfortunately, you don't own. And next one I have is, actually, funny enough, is real estate. I'll say this, at least real estate in the United States. I can't speak for any other countries or jurisdictions out there. But at least for the US, you unfortunately don't own your home. And the reason why you don't own your home is because, well, when you go to buy a home and you put a certain percentage down for a down payment, and the rest you're taking out a mortgage, you're financing with the bank. And the bank owns the building or your home and all that. And then the next is the property taxes. You're paying property taxes to the municipality that you are based in. So they own the land where the home is. So you have two tenants, actually. The bank and the municipality. But here's the thing. You pay off your mortgage. You own the building. Nice. Okay. But you don't own the land that the building is on. And if you don't pay your property taxes, even if you have the mortgage paid off, they can still evict you from your home. Take it from you, and you're gone. So, and another part too is, I understand in the language when it comes to like the deed of the house, apparently they name the person or the individual as the tenant. And that sounds like, sounds like renting landlord, language right there. Like, yeah, you can do stuff to the house. You can, you can hang, painting. I can hang this picture frame right up here where it is and all that, as long as, I can service the debt of the house. I mean, if I can't, guess what? They're just going to throw me out and my painting. So yeah. So even on the deed, they don't call you an owner. They call you a tenant. So, and, and I'm not saying, and again, and I'm probably mentioned this in a video before, I'm not saying that, buying a house is not the best idea or anything like that. But here's the thing, like, buying a house, just like buying a car, is an expense. And I know that kind of sounds ugly. And I know, I know that it's always been narrated saying like, it's the best financial decision you can make and all that. But the thing is, it's from a financial standpoint or from an investment standpoint, it's the worst. And it's not because I say it is the worst, because, other financial experts and real estate experts have said it themselves. like if you're buying a house for the purpose of raising your family and all that, like, then yeah, sure, like that's good, but don't call it an investment. Don't call something an investment that's not an investment, I guess you could say. So, like I said, there's nothing wrong, but like, I think people are quick to dismiss that, buying a house to renting, or quote unquote buying a house. Like I said, like, you don't own the house, or you don't own the land on that house, at least here in the US. So, and where was I going with this? Like, oh yeah, so renting and buying, like, and who knows, maybe I'll do a separate video on this, because this is something that I've been looking for myself, and I'll be transparent too. Like, at some point I would like to, quote unquote, buy a house, even though I'm not buying the house, I'm just renting it. because I would like to have a family one day, and a space for myself and my family and all that. But I also have to, and I say this come as a man, that I need to protect my family and, provide for them and ensure what's going to be the best possible outcomes, not just for myself, but for my family as well. And therefore I need to educate myself. This is why, I do what I do, why I'm in Bitcoin, why am I studying about money, and why I need to. Because, majority of people, why they feel stuck or they're just going by paycheck to paycheck is because, they don't know. It's not even financial literacy at this point. It's like financial, like, alchemy, if you want to put it like that. Financial history, financial philosophy, or the science behind money, whatever you want to call it, put it behind. It's not just Bitcoin. Because I think even to understand Bitcoin, you need to understand how money works, how money came to be, the concept of money. And I'm not going to lie too, like, there's some things I need to still brush up on and still learn, but, I'm not here to know everything. I'm just here like you, learning as we go. That's the best part. But yeah, where was I going with this? But yeah, I know people write off renting as, throwing away money, you're making your landlord rich. But on the flip side, well, two flip sides actually. Number one is, let's say you were a landlord and you had a house and you were looking to have, tenants, rent your space, and you get, the income from it. How would you like I go up to you, or somebody came up to me? Let's say if it was me, I had let's say a 2 or 4 multifamily house, I put it up for rent and all that. And somebody came up to me saying like, oh, don't rent from Kevin. You're just, if you're renting, the space that Kevin is offering, you're just throwing away your money. You're making Kevin rich. So it's easy to point the finger at the other person saying that you're making them rich. But if it's you, come on. You gotta say the same token as well. Be consistent. And then the second part is like, okay, you might be making your landlord rich, but you, by buying a home, you're making the banks rich, and you're making the municipality rich as well. I mean, either or. If people don't, like I said, like, I might get some pushback with this. I might make some people mad, but like, again, this is just from what I've been learning over the past, few years of, about this, about ownership, about money, about Bitcoin and all that. It's like, either way, we're still renting, or like this, we are still subscribing from these subscription-based models. So yeah, but I guess you got to choose the lesser two of evils, or the lesser two which makes, financial sense to you, the viewer. So yeah. But anyways, moving on. Now the last one, which I mentioned before with Money in the Bank, is or no, with stocks is Bitcoin on an exchange, or I can even generalize as Bitcoin or crypto on an exchange. Because if you leave it on an exchange, it's no different from like what we talk about stocks. Like you're leaving it on an exchange, and anything could happen to that exchange at any moment. Like for example, I had an account with FTX before they crashed. But thankfully, around that time, like I already knew what cold storage was and moving my Bitcoin or crypto into cold storage. And funny enough, I was still dabbling in crypto at that time as well. Now I'm just straight Bitcoin, just to block the noise. But anyways, that's besides the point. I remember on a regular basis, I would move my Bitcoin and crypto into cold storage. And I remember when FTX got, the collapse happened, like thankfully I had nothing on there. If anything I had on there was like the NFTs that they had on the Solana blockchain, but they were given as like, memorabilia and all that. So I had nothing important there, thankfully. But yeah, that's what can happen. And even if it's, they say they can insure to return your money back and all that, they won't even give you the Bitcoin. They'll just give you fiat. That happened to my friend's in-law who had something happened on their Coinbase account and they got locked out of their Bitcoin or something like that. I don't even know what happened in detail, but in reality, they didn't give her back the Bitcoin that she had on the account. They just gave them fiat, and they were furious at that, saying like, "Oh, like they're just scammers." But it just goes to show you shouldn't be keeping Bitcoin on an exchange, because at the end of the day, if you have it on the exchange, it's not your Bitcoin, it's the exchanges. And it doesn't matter if it's Coinbase, it doesn't matter if it's Binance, it doesn't matter even if it's just like a Bitcoin only exchange, River, Fold, Strike, whatever. If something were to happen, guess what? That Bitcoin is theirs, and guess what? They're gonna come and save and cover their butts and screw you or me over, the individuals using these who are using these apps or using these platforms to buy Bitcoin. And yeah, so yeah, and this goes on to what I'm going to say next, which is the things that you do actually own. So we'll say this: gold, silver, but physical, because it's no different from Bitcoin on an exchange or stocks on an exchange. If you don't have it physical, if you have it physical in hand. But the problem is, somebody can come and take them. I mean, they're bearer assets. So yeah, it's yours until you sell it, or it's yours until somebody else that's, bigger and stronger with you will take it. The next is cash on hand. So yeah. So if you have physical cash on you, which is another bearer asset. But the thing with cash is, it goes back to being, going back to money in the bank, is that even if you have the cash on hand, even if it's not in a bank, guess what? Your purchasing power is being robbed by inflation. So let's say if I had 10,000 in cash, and 10,000 cash buys me X amount of goods and service from 5 years ago, it's not going to get me the same 5 years later, because inflation has robbed the purchasing power of those $10,000. So cash is good to have on hand, especially if you're making an immediate purchase. I know a lot of people out there say that cash is king, but I think cash is king when you're trying to make an immediate purchase. But for the long term, it's not. Then the next is Bitcoin. But Bitcoin, as I mentioned before, in cold storage, in your own wallet, where you, the individual, is owning that Bitcoin. And it's just, clear as day. Like you have, just like you have US dollars or Canadian dollars or euros or whatever, in your own physical wallet on hand is the same with Bitcoin as well. Other than that, it's not yours. And I mean cold, not hot, not warm, cold. Offline, off the grid and all that. And then, and I'll say this too, like on the contrary, going back to, to real estate. And I'll even say this, real estate and land. So just like I mentioned in the US, you don't own your house, or you don't own the land that your house is built on. There's other parts in the world where you don't pay property taxes. So you actually own the land where your house is built on, but also you also own the house. And I think you have to pay more of a premium, but guess what? If that means you come out owning both the building and the land, that's a great case scenario. You own, congratulations. You actually own your house. You actually own the land that your house is built on and all that. But apart from that, let's not even talk about the monetary side of things. Let's talk about even what people don't realize are assets. So, and there's two of them right here. If you can name more, if you can name more, put it in the comments down below. So what I have here is skills and knowledge, whatever skills, abilities that you have that you can contribute to society or to the market and all that. Those are assets right there. They're intangible assets right there, and knowledge as well. Whatever knowledge or wisdom that you can pass on to other people. That's priceless right there. And your time, because here's the thing: it doesn't matter whether you have Bitcoin and cold storage, or gold and silver physical on you, or anything like that, or in storage as well. Or let's say like even real estate somewhere where you actually own the real estate and the land on that. None of that matters, because time is scarce. It's more scarce than any of those that I just mentioned right there, especially Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is capped at 21 million. We all know that. And there's only going to be 21 million Bitcoin, but guess what? Your time and your effort is scarce as well. And there hasn't been a way to buy back time. Well, Bitcoin obviously, but like regardless, still, like, even as I film this video right now, each second, millisecond, or minute that I'm recording this right now, I'm not getting back. So yeah, your time is an asset as well. And however you use it, however you use it and stuff is subjective. But yeah. And just to wrap this up, like, the reason why, I bring all this, because it says here, because at least here in the US, you don't own assets. You rent from them. You rent from the government, from the bank, or the platform. And the moment that you stop paying taxes, fees, and interest, guess what? They take it back. There are only a handful of things you can truly own. Most people don't have any of them. The same system that told you to build wealth made sure you couldn't actually own any of it. And again, some people might disagree with me, might say something in the comments and all that, and some people might feel a certain way, but guess what? I grew up thinking the same way that everybody thought, like, buying the house is the American dream, or having X amount of money in the bank is the American dream and all that. And these are mine. I own these. But in reality, we don't, which is unfortunate. Like I said, like, I'm being transparent. Like I said, like, one day I would like to own a house for myself and, the family I wish to have, down the line as well. But this is why, and this is why I'm making this video, to educate, to put the message out and all that. So yeah, if there's something that I missed, please leave it on the comment down below. And also, if you see this QR code that I left on the top right here, right there, I'm not sure where I put it, but if you feel like you got value out of this video or any of the videos that I put out, send me a zap. Send me a zap, and greatly appreciate it. I mean, it's not an obligation. That's only if you feel you got something out of it. And also, funny enough, I'm also drinking coffee as I'm making this video. I also have a coffee company as well. Coffee comes from Costa Rica. I don't say it because it's mine. It's my my coffee, but or it's the coffee that I sell. But like, it's great coffee, great quality coffee. And if you want to buy, I'll leave a link down below as well. But until then, this is 21 Sat Street. I'm Kev, and until next time, peace.